The board previously met in closed session under exceptions C1, C11, and C21. That I'd like to call to order the February 25th, 2025 Waukegan Public School Board of Education meeting. If I can have a roll call.
Mr. McBride. Ms. Fabian. Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Present.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes. We are, if I'd like a motion to resume open session.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Lensing, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. We are now in open session. Mr. Dupuy, if you be so kind as to lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So, as a President's Report time, I'd like to welcome you all to our board meeting. I know today was primary day in Waukegan, so I hope that you all were able to make your voices heard. We had some important elections, being able to decide who will be the next mayor of the city of Waukegan, or at least candidate to be mayor for the city of Waukegan. I was able to attend a ton of events. I want to first shout out our band Drumline. There was a Drumline event, actually Drumline Live at the Genesee Theater, and our students were able to do a about 20-minute performance to a packed audience. They did an amazing job representing Waukegan Public Schools, and then the show itself was really good, and we had a lot of students who attended with their families, so it was a great evening out. Want to congratulate our face department along with our I forget the acronym for the club for African American Black Student Union, BSU. So I do also want to commend BSU and all of those who performed at our district Black History Month. It was a great night to come out. They had good food, a lot of fun presentations, and we were able to see many of our students perform and celebrate Black history, which is American history. So was super excited for that. And all of the different events that I've been able to attend, it's a busy time throughout the district. There are things going on at every school. So I definitely encourage you to make sure you're following the districts. If you are on social media, follow the Facebook pages, especially for community members who are like, well, what's going on? That's a great place to kind of see and get information. Many of these events are open to the public and to the community, so we want to make sure to get the word out. This concludes, doesn't conclude. The only thing from the board perspective is we do have our attorney evaluation and superintendent evaluations that are being scheduled for March. So when you get the date to schedule the time, make sure that you respond quickly, because we want to have 100% of the board be present. So with that, and last reminder is it is in the middle of board elections, so make sure that you attend events knowing who the candidates are. Myself and Ms. Gonzalez are not seeking re-election, so there will be at minimum 2 new board members, so make sure that you're getting informed so that you know what your options are. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our student board member for our student board member report.
Okay, it works. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I can get my presentation on the board. Okay, so my agenda this week is concert week for all the music department, some JROTC updates, and then the HVAC, I think that's what it's called. It was, what was it? It was like I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It was like, was it a workshop? Or open house. Okay. Oh, okay. So If you could go to the next slide. So this week is concert week, everyone's favorite week at Waukegan. Tonight we have the choir concert. Tomorrow night is the band concert, and Thursday night is the orchestra concert. The doors open at 6:30 a.m. at Brookside, and it'll be at the Trap Auditorium, and they start at 7 p.m. and admission is free. Next slide, please. And here are some updates from JROTC. First, I would like to give a very big good luck to all the cadets who are taking the corporal's exam this week. And I want to give a very big shout out to Cadet Major Isabel Herrera on receiving a $116,000 scholarship to the Loyola University Nursing Program.
Wow, nice.
And this weekend, Charlie Company won our annual Raiders game event. And also this weekend, the drill team, both drill teams placed first place in their armed and unarmed exhibition routines at competition. And recently, over 140 cadets took an amazing field trip to the Chicago Wolves game for a reward on passing all of their classes. Next slide, please. And then the HVAC open house. It was an event that highlighted like the latest advancements in hands-on training, career pathways, and the virtual program of transferable skills in shaping their workforce of tomorrow. I don't really know too much information on what happened that weekend, but in my opinion, it looked like from the pictures posted online that all the students really enjoyed it. And then lastly is Drumline Live. The Drumline had an amazing performance, and I really enjoyed it. They performed a 30-minute set, and then they watched the show. From what they got from this experience was that they learned many new cadences, and they prepared for this event, which they have been practicing for a couple weeks. And if you missed their performance, you could watch it on YouTube, on Mr. Grayson's YouTube account. But yeah, any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Bravo. And then I was remiss to shout out our NSC co-conference champs, which are our Waukegan Bulldogs, and they start playoffs this week. So they have a regional championship against Zion Benton and Libertyville. So again, if you can make it out, Nick, what time is that?
Tomorrow's the regional semifinal in Libertyville against Zion at 6.
At 6 p.m. So.
They play Friday evening in Libertyville again for the regional championship.
Okay, so we hope that the boys look good. They look great. So if you can make the drive and head out to Libertyville, please do, so we can support our Waukegan Bulldogs. Next up,
Sorry, we're going to put this on mics now. So great job to our boys basketball team. Can we get an update for our girls basketball team, especially with the recent article highlight?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
you got it, Nick, now, or you got to? Yep.
Sure. The girls basketball team made it to the
Mike.
Mike.
Sure. Good evening,
We want the
everyone.
public
Nick
to
here
hear
with
the
your
goodness
daily
that-
sports report.
girls.
So the girls basketball team made it to the regional final where they lost. They won the regional semifinal, lost the regional final against Lake Zurich last Thursday.
Okay, thank you for the update. Good
But they
job
had a
for
very
a good
good season.
though.
They did. Yeah, student athletes are doing a great job throughout the many different programs, so love to be able to encourage them. Next up is our Spotlight on 60.
I am so excited to be here tonight to celebrate Black History Month. Our team has put on a great event that is going to celebrate the history of African American contributions throughout our nation. You will see all of our schools participating. I want to give a special thanks to our faith department and all of our community volunteers that made this program possible. And I want to also give a big shout out to our Board of Education. Without them, none of this could be possible. Thank you for being here with us tonight, and look forward to a great event.
Today, for our Black History Month event, we are really just celebrating all the work that African Americans have done to uplift our nation. Specifically, that's why our theme today is focusing in on labor.
This right here, it bridges the gap. It has this older generation connect with our younger generation. As we look at history, we come together, we talk, we share stories, and that's the thing about it. We have to give back, and we have to teach them, and they have to learn from us.
Well, I think these events are very important because it brings awareness and it brings education to the rich history and culture of Black history.
I think the cool thing about today's event is that we actually have a lot of Waukegan High School alumni who are doing really cool and important work in Waukegan. So I think, if anything, our Waukeganites should see that, you know, we're gonna do big things, you're gonna do big things, and people around you are doing big things. So never give up, keep striving, because next thing you know, you're gonna be the one that's leading a keynote and talking about how you've impacted the city.
Great job to all involved, especially our students. Really enjoyed the presentations, and again, it's important now more than ever that we promote American history, which includes the history of the diverse makeup that is America. Approval of minutes, so we have item 8A, closed session minutes approval.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Go ahead, Mr. Closed session minute approval. Read the recommended action, Superintendent.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the minutes for open session meeting January 28, 2025.
Well, that was we were on 8A, but he's away from, no worries, I know you, it's okay.
It is recommended, hold on, give me a minute, just let me catch my place. Nope, I got it. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the closed session minutes from November 25th, 2024, January 14th, 2025, and January 28th, 2025, previously reviewed in closed session.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Item 8B, approval of the minutes for the open session meeting of January 28th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Hannah. Any comments or questions on the motion? Any corrections? Mr. Riddle, you did have recommended.
Say that again.
You had corrections?
Oh, that's been submitted already
Okay.
and corrected. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
2 words. So.
All right. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. This is now an opportunity for public comment. As I call your name, please come up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. If you need additional time for translation, we'll provide 6 minutes so that we can have translation services. I do ask that you refrain from mentioning student and staff member names in your remarks. As of this evening, And I do want to remind all speakers of civility. There's currently only one name, Susan Green. So Ms. Green, come on up.
I am Susan Green. I'm here today representing Lake County retired teachers. I have some information for you, and I'm going to ask you for some support. Illinois RTA provides many scholarships for people who are going to college to be teachers. However, they also provide grants for current teachers in the public schools. They are not they exclude Chicago, so it's strictly K-12 public schools. Now, I am hoping that you will be able to provide the publicity to the staff members here in Waukegan so that they can know what is available. The scholarship or grant is equal to $750. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if it's one thing you need, you're grateful for it. Some of the things that we've given scholarship money for, we have provided a glockenspiel for a music program. We've provided drums for middle school music programs. We've provided a new stove for a special ed class where the stove had died off and there was no other way to provide it. This is the kind of thing we're looking to do. We also can provide specific books if you're wanting to have a conference in a classroom, provided for that. So what I'm asking you is that you will provide the publicity between now and June 1st on a bulletin. If you do bulletins for staff members, just put it at the bottom of it, please, because this is the only way that I can guarantee that Waukegan will be able to have as many people as we should. Last year we had 2, and I will tell you that I would like to see us have so many, because when we select the people, we're looking for people who have projects that will be good for our schools. Here are the flyers. I'm giving you one too.
Put it in the superintendent bulletin. I'll put it in the superintendent bulletin for you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Green. This now concludes our public comment. Next up, we have our consent agenda. This is done to expedite up. Never mind, I'm not going to say it. No, I am going to say it. No, I won't. I'm not going to say it. This is done to celebrate with your respective individuals. So maybe we'll get out of time here in enough time that I may still be able to go to some of the primary celebration party results. That's what I'll say. So the first item, the consent agenda, any board member can request that any letter be held over for any reason. I did have a request to vote on O separately. Is there any other letters, just state the letter that you all would like to have voted on separately?
Give me a minute. Hold on. Go down, a little down. Oh, sorry. It's in operations, right?
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to take item 10A through, what's the N? No, that's fine. A through N. I was going to say with the exception of O, but see, it's a lot of ways you could do this. So A through N. And then P through U.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride? Miss Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Before I vote, I just want to let the public know that we went over all of these items at our committee meeting, and that's why we're not reiterating what we talked about at the committee. So yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Now at 10O, IB Professional Development for High School Leaders, May 3rd through the 7th, 2025 in St. Pete, Florida.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent or her designee to approve 3 high school leaders at the IB Head of School Training in St. Pete, Florida from May 3rd through the 7th, 2025. The expected total cost is $9,678, which includes registration, lodging, travel, and meal per diem.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second with an amendment, though?
Wait, so you want to make the motion with an amendment?
Yeah,
Go ahead, you wanna
well,
make the motion?
yeah, I motion.
Motion to do what?
To amend is how?
Amend as, so that it's clear whether it's May 3rd through the 7th or May 2nd through the 7th, because I'm noticing now the link has 2 to 7.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, the recommended action says 3rd through the
3,
7th. So is it 3rd through the 7th?
Can we clarify?
Does someone who has this information?
Good evening,
Can we
Board.
just,
I believe in the link that I put in there for you all is the exact start date, which is the 4th through the 7th. The 3rd is that part of travel that we had, I can't remember if I put in there PM for travel of that, the 3rd, and leaving on the same date in the PM on the 7th.
okay, so then it's 3rd through 7th.
So on the professional development forms is exactly what the action will be around in looking for all of the flight information as far as the lodging and all that.
Got it, okay.
So it's correct
So it's
in the
correct
recommendation action.
in the recommendation.
Go ahead, Miss Fabian.
Okay, well, because she said the 4th, but this is saying the 2nd.
No, the action says the
action is
3rd.
3 through 7.
But, and the link is saying 2, and she's saying travel time, so that's why I'm all confused now.
I just don't have it in front of me, Board, so whatever you'd like me to do to clarify any action that you need for your next step, I'm happy to do so.
My suggestion is
so
that
they're
we
not
go with the
going-
recommended action that aligns with the forms attached.
Yeah.
Right, and the forms attached show the 3rd through the 7th. is what-
Okay.
The way the forms
It's
were
just the
filled out.
link. The
Yeah,
link
the
is
link
attached.
All right, so we got the recommended action, which is just to restate that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent or her designee to approve 3 high school leaders to attend the IB Head of School Training in St. Pete, Florida from May 3rd through the 7th.
Right.
Excellent.
And I would just
Yeah,
mention
they
that this is.
attached.
Board President, I just would mention that, our IB program is now, at Whittier. We're moving it up to the middle school, and we want this to be seamless by the time those students move up to high school, that it moves through into the high school so they can actually receive their certificate in International Baccalaureate. So
Yep.
that'll be on their diploma. So we need to have the high school people ready by that time as those kids move up.
Thank you, Mr. Riddle. Yep, we have a motion in a second. Motion was Ms. Gonzalez, second it was Mr. Riddle, right?
Switch.
We can do it that way.
Yeah, sure.
It was like,
Roll call.
Are we doing comments or questions, or you want me to attach it to my vote?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So I will be voting no, not that I don't support our pursuit of IB at the high school, but given the situation, unfortunately, it is in Florida, and to remain consistent with my other votings in this matter, unfortunately, I will not support any tourism or traveler financial aid to the state in light of supporting our students within this community.
Understood.
All right, roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Pass.
Ms. Lindsay?
No.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We're now at our approval for the consent agenda for items 11A through C.
Can we?
I'll read them all into the
Read 'em all,
record.
yeah.
We can scroll back up.
From back down to the end. He stopped at O, he stopped at N.
I'm not sure he heard you.
Can we scroll back up so I can read these into the record? Items A, renewal of Amplify curriculum embedded coach for SY26 K through 5. B, renewal of Amplify Boost licenses for SY26. C, renewal of second step tier 1 SEL curriculum. D, equipment to upgrade WHS Woods Lab to industry standards. E, Woods 1, 2, and 3 curriculum approval. F, Simon's automation curriculum training and troubleshooting training August 3rd through 9th. G, renewal of Jocelyn Center partnership for SY26. H, renewal of iReady for SY26. I, renewal of iQuest Science Materials SY26. J, attendance at College Board's AP Summer Institute. K, physical honors physics textbooks from Conceptual Physics. L, renewal of school links for SY26. M, renewal of One Goal for SY26. N, renewal of Everyday Math SY26. O, IB Professional Development for High School Leaders. P, renewal of Cardonics. Q, Whittier IB Training in June. R, Whittier IB Training in August. S, Oakdale Amazing Shake. T, approval of Adelaida. All right, Guzman to attend the IAAP Summit. And U, renewal of Laserfish licenses. So we're now at the consent agenda for operations. Same thing. These things have been previously discussed. As Ms. Hannah mentioned, should be non-controversial. Any board members can ask that any letter be voted on separately for any reason. Would any board members like to vote on any of these letters separately at this time?
A, separate.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve items 11, B, and C?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Hannah. Any comments or questions? Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lansing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. Now we're at item 11A, approval of OpenGate metal detectors. Do we have a motion? I'll read the recommendation. Thank you, Superintendent.
It
I'll
is
make
the
the
rec-
motion. Oh, sorry, you're going to read it.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 8 OpenGate metal detectors to enhance safety and security of students, staff, and visitors attending extracurricular events and middle schools. The total cost for this OpenGate metal detectors is $162,696, which includes storage, transport cases, and stabilizing plates.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, and then was that Mr. McBride with
Yeah.
the second?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Ernest.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Yeah, the only thing that I don't see that this $162,000 covers is the repair services for these metal detectors. Where does that come in?
Mr. Wilson, is there a service contract in the warranty?
Warranties, yes. That's the only thing I don't see in here.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, board president, community. Ms. Hannah, I believe it's covered on another maintenance agreement, but I'll get back with you because we have a separate maintenance agreement with the company.
Oh, okay, so you're saying we already,
Because we have some open gates now, but I'll have to get back to you with that answer.
Okay,
Specifically.
because, so.
It does come with a warranty.
It does?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The
because
specifics
if
of it, I don't
we
have.
vote on this, and there is no warranty or service contract or anything, then you are gonna have to come back to us at another meeting to add that expenditure. And we should not have to do that, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So what's the ask? Are you confident that this is covered under current maintenance agreement?
I'm confident that it's covered under a agreement. I'm not sure what it is. It does have a warranty.
So
Are we
The first
looking for
purchase
like
we had-
the years that, or a dollar amount? Is that what you're looking for, Ms. Hannah?
Say again, Ms.
Are you
Gonzalez?
looking for like the years or
No, no,
the
I'm
dollar
looking
amount?
to make sure that our capital
Mhm.
is covered.
Mhm.
Warranty, if it breaks, where's our service agreement, that kind of stuff. And it should come along with us purchasing
Right.
these items from the company.
There is a manufacturer's a warranty, Ms. Hannah. I do know that because we bought directly from the manufacturer. The details of it, I don't have the details of it.
Director Wilson, how long have we had the ones that we've had currently? Have we had to send any back for repairs?
No, we
No.
haven't.
We've had them a year, more than a year even, right?
Probably 3 years now,
3 years,
going on
yeah.
3 years.
It's not something that breaks a lot.
No.
No, it's just,
Okay.
it's just
They're
got
pretty
sensors inside and, yeah. And these ones plug in, we don't even, or you're gonna possibly buy some batteries somewhere else. That's right, I remember you said you would, yeah.
Yes.
Much, much cheaper, right.
Okay, and if that's the case, it's okay. I just want to make sure that we are covered with our devices.
There is a manufacturer warranty.
Okay.
Ms. Lindsay?
Apologies, but can you just confirm, sorry, I didn't want the screen. Can you confirm again examples of what these detectors are going to find for our safety staff? In the presentation, it has, high caliber weapons and explosive devices of some kind. But I thought in the last presentation, there was also discussion about being able to look for other objects. Am I mistaken?
Yes, they have different settings. Right now, we're looking at weapons of mass destruction, but we can lower the setting so it searches for vape pens if they're made out of metal, small items.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to confirm because it's not in the presentation, so I just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
Yes.
Thank you for confirming, Director Wilson.
And
Mr. Rick?
my only other comment is regrettably, we live in a time where things like this are needed to provide a little more measure of safety for our students and staff and community when they walk into events that we're holding outside or inside our schools these days.
Yes.
So you've done research on that and you know that these devices are, and we've had some in the past, and they work well and they provide a little more measure of safety.
Yeah, and they've been
Thank you.
accepted well by the community as
Yes.
well. So-
Yes, and they're not as intrusive as a magnetometer or scanning a person like we do in the airport. It's, you just walk past some little towers that don't look too intimidating and
Yes.
can make a noise if you have something you shouldn't.
And you have you do have a procedure in place if it goes off.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Roll call. You good?
Well, I was just gonna say that unfortunately I'm going to vote no, but I understand Director Wilson why you're making the recommendation, and I agree with what Mr. Riddle said. But I think the 180, 190, almost $200,000 could be spent elsewhere. There's also a lot of investments that we've been making in our buildings, so regrettably I'll say no. But I just wanted to explain so people know.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yeah, I just want to make my comment, Mr. Wilson. I think it's a valid decision that you're making. I hate to start using it, but when you're on the front line and you see these things happen every day, by me working in Zion, the ones that you're talking about, they're using them every day. Sometimes the kids come in late, they have to walk through them, before, then they check the bag out. And it's, like Mr. Riddle said, we live in a day and time where the value of $1 is less than a life. I'd rather see a life than the value of $1. So thanks for making that decision.
And Mr. McBride, we recommended those to Zion, and they adopted them, so.
Collaboration. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Respectfully, no.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at item 12A, approval of one-year contract renewal with Sodexo LLC Access.
It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the one-year contract renewal with Sodexo LLC. The projected one-year cost is $8,289,264.02. This price represents an allowable maximum increase of 3.6% from the last year's contract value.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle. What was that?
I just got
Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Mr. McBride.
the amount that we're looking at, is that for both schools, both high schools?
The whole district.
The whole district?
The whole district.
Okay.
Sorry, the whole district.
Ms. Anna.
I just want to know if, when this came up in our committee meeting, we brought forth some concerns, and I'm just wondering, before we vote on this, did we get any kind of responses from Sodexo about our concerns?
So I can address part of this. So we did state that we were going to look out and do a market analysis of what other companies are out there. Our team is still discussing that. And Mr. Moulton, I will allow you to speak to, did you have a conversation with Sodexo with the board's concerns?
So good evening, members of the board, superintendent, staff, and community. So we did have a follow-up the day after the board meeting with Sodexo, and we're going to have some ongoing conversations with them regarding some food quality presentation, menu options, as well as the app that was mentioned last week.
Thank you. And they are looking to do something. Oh, I'm sorry. And so they are looking to do something about what they said that they were going to do for our school district.
Absolutely, Ms. Hannah. They're going to take the appropriate steps for follow-through on those specific items. They value the partnership and they understand that's important, and they want to make sure that this partnership obviously goes beyond next year, but they will be addressing those items. We are going to allow them a schedule to do that, but yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moulton, for doing it right after the board meeting, like within a day, so that they have enough time to respond. And again, a couple years ago, I was a no for this. But I think that fiscally, we have to invest in this relationship to not incur extra costs by doing an RFP.
Ms. Lindsay.
I'm in agreement with Board Member Gonzalez that was pretty swift attention to our concerns. I am looking forward to getting updates in regard to the schedule that you referenced. Can you just remind us what was their rationale to not have the app ready for our district or our families?
Sure. So as a reminder, and some of this information is prior to last week, the NutriSlice app, they transitioned to a new app. It was not ready to roll out at the start of the school year last year. They transitioned to a new app, which required some new programming and other resources. We did prioritize this year when we presented it last summer to make sure that the menu options were available and if there were any menu changes, because that was feedback we got last year. If there's a menu change, parents and students, anybody who has the app wants to know in real time, as opposed to being told when their students get home at the end of the day, I had this for lunch and it's not consistent with what the parents thought their children would be receiving. So we did prioritize those notifications and updates through the app for this year, made a transition, and now as a secondary priority, ensuring that the ordering can take place, along with some other items that need to take place in the school to support that. Essentially a grab-and-go location for the purposes of the schools, kind of like what you would see at a restaurant. Grab-and-go location.
Yeah, and just for the community to understand, I think the app's going to be very important as soon as we have access to it, because it's going to potentially minimize waste, right? Whether there's a menu change the student can adjust, or if they're pre-planning ahead, we know that this is not a popular menu item, and so we don't need to necessarily make abundance of food that we're not going to have consumed by our student staff. So it's not really a trivial thing, though on its face it may seem that way, but I just wanted to give some of the rationale why we're so concerned about it. So thank you for being on top of that.
Absolutely, and we do have students, based on what our prior student board member mentioned, who have other responsibilities during their lunch periods. So they don't have the opportunity sometimes to sit in the cafeteria. They're going and doing other activities, so they need to be able to grab and go.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. All right, we are now at personnel items. I'll take these separately. We have item 13A, authorization to issue a notice to remedy tenured teacher.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education issue a warning letter to tenured teacher concerning charges that are considered remediable and require the employee to remediate such behaviors in order to avoid dismissal pursuant to 105 ILCS 24-12 parentheses D.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Sorry, I was going to make a quick.
Oh, I didn't see you, Miss.
Sorry,
Well, I asked. Nobody said.
I stopped because I thought Miss Hannah was
So if
going
we
to
can,
say something.
I already did roll call, so I apologize, but we're going to go back. Are there any comments or questions, Ms.
Just a really quick comment that I have full
Fabian.
faith that this individual will remedy and that they'll have a continued long career in our district.
Ms. Hannah?
I just think that we need to start talking and communicating so that we don't have these type of issues coming up in reference to our employees, and that of course we have to safeguard our students each and every day, but sometimes, if this is not a terminable offense, then I don't think that the humiliation of a notice of remedy should be put forth.
Ms. Lensing?
Are we resuming roll call?
Yeah,
I got confused.
Were you commenting?
No.
No. All right, so if we can restart. the
No,
roll.
you're fine. I'm just, I'm lost in the sauce.
I guess it's roll call now.
Oh, she made it.
Okay.
Okay, you did do your vote, so it is a vote.
No, we're going to
Mr.
restart
McBride.
roll call.
Okay.
I didn't do my vote yet.
Why don't we start roll call again, just to make sure.
Let's start from the
Mr. McBride?
Thank you for your patience.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
No.
Ms. Lensing?
Unfortunately, yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We're now at item 13B under personnel.
Oh, the name.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Ms.
Just momentarily, this involves Helene Duda.
All right. Yep, so item 13B, personnel for 2/25/2025.
It is a recommendation that the Board of Education accept the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments, retirements, retirement extension requests, administrative reclassification, and accept the resignations as found on schedules F1002, L949, and G660.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McBride. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at financial reports, so 16A, ratification of the second processing of February 2025. Board bills, manual check request payments, and Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of February 5th, 2025 through February 18th, 2025.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education ratify the 2nd February 2025 processing of board bills, manual check request payments, and Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of February 5th, 2025 through February 18th, 25. The accounts payable board payments for the period of February 5th, 2025 through February 18th, 2025 total $2,203,742.61. The manual check request payments for the period of February 5th, 2025 through February 18, 2025, total $1,943,682.88. The Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of February 5th, 2025 through February 18, 2025, total $0.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Pass.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item is approved, motion carries. Committee reports.
I guess I would make a quick report on our Health and Wellness Committee. We met last week. Ms. Hannah and myself were online with the group. We're still working on the survey, the student survey that was done last year. We're going to get that out and discuss that. We're also, as I mentioned last time, the books have been ordered for the Anxious Generation. Our committee is going to be reading that book and discussing some of the issues brought in with the mental health issues of our students, the vaping, other concerns that are brought up in that book. And so we're going to be discussing that. And then the third item that we talked about was the anti-vaping. And we understand, the committee was understanding that we have partnered with NICASA, the school district has partnered with NICASA and with the Lake County Health Department, and they are starting education classes in our schools, working on anti-bullying and anti-vaping. And then we also have been working with our student board members to select some posters, some anti-vaping posters. The health department has told us they will help us get those available and put up in the schools soon. So we're working on that. Ms. Hannah and I are going to be meeting shortly with our student board members and the committees that they've been forming to select the posters. I don't believe there's going to be any charge for that. The health department has those posters available. They just have to be remade with our insignia. They've been doing it in other schools in Lake County, so now they're going to be working with Waukegan on that.
Yeah, and
go ahead, Ms. Hannah.
I just want to chime in that one of the suggestions I thought was really effective, that will be effective, is that once we get our slogans and everything, that we would have them displayed on our marquees.
Yes, that was
throughout
great.
the district.
Mhm.
You know, for anti-vaping and so forth.
The other item, too, I forgot to mention was the caffeinated beverages.
Oh, yes.
There was a survey done by some of the board members in the committee, and some schools do not see a problem with the caffeinated beverages. Some schools don't have beverage vending machines, so beverages aren't a problem, caffeinated beverages. And some other schools, and I guess ours is one of them, we're thinking that along the lines that we'll just educate the students. They can pick up beverages on the outside that are caffeinated, coffee and other caffeinated beverages, and bring them into school even. So we're just going to work to educate them on the proper use of caffeinated beverages.
And
There's been
potential.
very few incidences of that being abused by students anyway. Go ahead.
And the potential health factors, pros and cons with the caffeinated drinks and energy drinks and so forth.
Right.
But the biggest thing that we're really excited about is this anti-vaping campaign.
Right.
And we're going to need support not only of the school community, but as well the community at large and parents.
Right.
You know, and we will be getting this started soon.
After, maybe possibly before spring break, yes.
Maybe before spring break, yes.
Ms. Fabian had a question for you.
Oh.
Yeah, just a quick question, because thinking of not just caffeine, but what's in all of our vending machines, ensuring like Takis and Cheetos and like that stuff. If your committee can look into those healthier vending machines, like the farmer's market that have more like the fresh fruits or the, you know, different like hard-boiled eggs and salads, like there's other vending machines that are more geared towards fresher, healthier versus chips and.
See, will you send me
Right, right.
Yeah.
an email or something about that so that I can.
Right. There is a
put that
policy
so
already
can
that we don't
talk
have
about that in
sugared
our-
beverages. in there.
Appreciate that, Ms.
Right,
Ms.
but you're
Fabian.
right, healthier beverages.
Yeah, healthier, because we, just to let you know, Ms. Fabian, that we did talk about that. That's how all of this got started. And there was a survey that Ms. Dobbs did at the schools where the vending machines were. And so we were able to look at that. But we did not, we looked at like liquid.
Yeah.
But not the snack part.
Yeah.
But thank you for that, and we will mention that at our next meeting.
Even for our staff as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Lindsay?
So I wanted to praise Director Wilson over the Safety Committee and Ms. Dobbs because there was the crossover conversation that they had, and he was able to give the Safety Committee an update on what the Wellness Committee was also doing. So I'm really thankful for that collaboration. And I believe, I can't remember the date, I don't have it in my notes, so apologies, but we also have an event for parents. I don't believe it's passed yet, for the Stay Out of My Room or Get Out of My Room. That's this week. Or did it pass? Okay, so apologies if I missed that. There's a lot of things when we look at February. And,
Yeah.
so if we can confirm if that did not happen, if we can, it didn't happen, right, Nick? Yeah. Is it Thursday night? Friday night. See, too many things on Friday too. So there is an event. Yeah. Yeah. Parents, you should have an email from Dr. George. It is open. It's essentially the Stay Out of My Room. It's a parent-only event so that parents are equipped with the knowledge to know what to look for when checking in on your kids, right? I'm sorry, kids, but that's part of our job as parents and guardians. And they come in very creative packages for a reason, in my opinion. So if you can, it's going to be at Waukegan High School, Brookside campus this Friday from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. I highly encourage parents of children of all ages, guardians of children of all ages, go attend because you don't know when it's going to happen.
What time again?
5:30 to 7:30, Brookside campus. Thanks for the
Washington campus.
And before I finish the committee, I just want to thank Mr. Wilson and Miss Tasha London for coming and being a part of our wellness committee.
Thank you. So is it going to be accurate? Should we just hold it? All right. And we're only talking, if you guys don't mind, were there any other committee reports?
No, it's fine.
So, under the superintendent's report, there was going to be an update on the new administration's executive actions. We just received news that in the span of 90 minutes, 3 of those executive actions have been overturned by the courts. So instead of, or overturned, stopped, whatever. But we don't know, so we don't want to present inaccurate,
themselves
outdated
and figure it out.
information to the community.
Let's hold it.
That's
Yeah.
the whole.
See, I was
That's the game.
going to say
Let's hold
that there was.
So then, do we
Give me
want to?
back time.
So we're not
title
having any
changes.
conversation on this?
We can have, if there's something or maybe questions that you want to pose, but I don't necessarily want to pontificate without knowing.
Yes. Yeah, but
I mean, are we able to have a dialogue about essentially the overall reason we were going to have this discussion? I believe the superintendent yesterday had also put out an email that speaks to some of these. So are we holding that conversation?
I prefer we hold everything until I see exactly what happened right now. We do have a meeting early April, and then I could come back to you. So if you could just please, March.
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
Brookside from
Yeah,
Washington. So
sorry. So if you just please give me some time, I need to look at this. We were prepared to go this evening, but we will come back for superintendent report in March.
And this is going back to that point. We now have time. If it requires a special meeting or if we want to do something sooner, we can. But and again, it'll be a board decision. I'm in alignment with the superintendent. I don't want to just talk about something if it could all be irrelevant,
I also don't want to spread any anxiety, anxiety or misinformation. So I'd rather hold till I don't even know what's passed within the last 90 minutes. So my ask is that I just hold the superintendent report tonight, and we will come back in March.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good. And I would like to ask about our next.
Oh, we didn't go there yet.
No, okay. I'm asking for it to be held
Which item, Ms. Hannah?
on A and B of the old business.
Okay. For specific additions or, the only reason
I just I was looking at it, but I didn't get a chance to finish, and there were some questions that I was forming.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
Is there a time limit?
Yeah, is there a
But then
deadline?
And I'm only asking, Ms. Hannah, so that the board is informed.
Yes, these updates were aligning the policies with the definition in the school code for corporal punishment and prohibiting it. I think our schools are in compliance independent of the policy statements. So it's just bringing the policy into alignment with amendments to the school code. But I believe practice is in alignment.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dupree is in the back of the room shaking his head yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could hold till March.
All right.
Thank you.
There was only a few changes.
Yeah, fine with me. So let's just hold it. We are now at board member time. I'll start with you, Jeff.
Okay.
Mr. Riddle.
Just a couple things. Mr. Gonzalez and myself, and I believe there were others, the superintendent and some others that did visit yesterday our new HVAC open house classroom at Washington campus. I was highly impressed with the work that's being done there. We talked to students who were in their first class. So this year is the first class that we have there of about 10 students. There's going to be more. There's room for more to start. We had partnered, as you recall, with Johnson Controls to get some of that equipment. And we have an instructor now who works not only for us, but for the College of Lake County, so that when students finish here, they can go to CLC and continue their education in that field. And again, it's a wonderful field in career and technical education that students can get a really good paying job, and one that is not going to be outsourced. We're going to always need heating and air conditioning folks. It's a career field that continues to develop and change, and so it's a great career. I love to see those kinds of programs in Waukegan, and of course, we are blessed as well to have the CLC, or not the CLC, but the Lakeshore, or what's it called, the Grays Lake Tech Campus, that's open to schools in Lake County. I think we send approximately 200 students out there every day. They spend about 2 hours out there. Today I was fortunate enough to be able to visit out there with a program called G-Camp, which is the Chicago Area Manufacturing Organization. They had a lot of board members and educators from around Lake County that were there. They wanted to show off their new welding lab. So this is their second lab that they've built out. Had an opportunity to talk to students and the teachers that work out there. Welding is a great field. It's in high demand. There were some employers out there as well today that were talking about the benefits of getting a career in welding. And talking to some of the students that were there that are in that program, I asked them, how did they find out about this program? And many of them just found out by talking to friends and visiting that facility. By the way, the principal out there welcomed, I don't know if any of us board members besides myself have been out there to see that, but it is a wonderful tech campus. He said, the president, Mr. Burris, said, our principal said he'd welcome a visit from Waukegan board members anytime. Just give him a call, and as you may know, there's just a whole many careers out there that are available. I was listing a few of them. There's computers and cybersecurity, welding, EMT and fire service, automotive, food service, early education, cosmetology, construction, and criminal justice, to name a few.
Do they still have the insurance? That was always amazing to me. Insurance adjusters and the adjusters and the inspectors. Do they
I
still
did
have
not
that?
see that, Ms. Hannah. I didn't check into every classroom. I did have a
Okay.
tour afterwards,
Yeah.
again, and had an opportunity to talk to some of them. I did not see that. I did have a chance to sample, however, their food service. Some of us tasted some of their wares, and these kids definitely learned to be good cooks. So I had an egg roll that was good to die for. It was a great one. They do offer that free food. The kids, I asked them, guys, you cook all this food every day, who gets to eat it? Well, the students out there rotate through, so they can't serve, the hundreds of students by what's being cooked, but they do get a chance every few weeks to rotate in there, so everybody gets a chance to sample what the food service is doing. You've got nursing as well, so if somebody gets sick, there's nurses around and stuff like that too. They're not sick of the food, but I mean they're teaching them at that field as well. So it's a wonderful facility. I'm just so pleased that our school takes buses students out there every day. I talked to one of the students that was there, and I said, did you have to give up something to come here? And he said, yes, I had to give up some of the electives that I wanted to take. And I've heard that complaint from some of our students. You might not be able to be in JORTC, or you might not be able to take music or some athletics. But one of the students I was out there with said, I had to give up something too. But he said, by my junior year, I realized I need to have some career, available. So he was happy that he'd given up some program elective at his school in order to get the courses out there. And all the classes are taught, the principal said, by people who have been in the career field, and they stay current with what's going on in the industries that they're teaching. So the kids told me too, these teachers are phenomenal. So I was excited to see that. And I would just mention one other thing that I signed on today to a webinar. Well, first off, some of you probably know Governor Pritzker delivered on February 11th, delivered his budget and State of the State address. And he did continue to fund education. An evidence-based funding formula increased it by $350 million, but that's not a lot when you consider the whole state. And he did continue the teacher vacancy grant. However, there was no increase for regular or special ed transportation. So, there is cutbacks by the governor. And then the other thing he did that was interesting is he proposed some legislation that would ban cell phones during classroom instruction in all K through 12 schools. And he's meeting with ISB and AA, some of our education programs. Some are for that, some are not. So he's just proposing some legislation. He hasn't written it up yet, and he's trying to build support. But interestingly enough, today I actually signed on to a webinar with a lady with, hang on, what's the group, Panorama Education. Some of you may have seen that come through as an email. So the lady that is an expert in this field, Dr. Angela Duckworth from the University of Minnesota, has done a lot of research. She's a psychologist, and the topic was indeed cell phones and self-control, and how school leadership and families can help support adolescents. And so she talked about the very same thing that was being talked about by the governor.
Yes.
And that is, how do we help our students control their cell phone usage and their social media usage? And I'm not going to give you the whole deal on what she discussed in the situation. People from around the country and even overseas were pegging into this today. But, she did say situational strategies need to be in place. We need to teach our children.
Right.
If nothing else, we need to teach them. And she said self-control won't work. It will not work. So you have to teach them strategies, just as she did some surveys among us, to push the usage of cell phone and social media away. And the farther you get it from the students, and the farther you get it from yourself, it helps you control it. And just having the closer the cell phone is to the student, the lower the IQ is, the lower the student's academic achievement is.
Absolutely.
So she said studies are, there's a lot of different ways that we're trying to control and help our students. And she said, I'm not going to, tell you that one way is better than the other. She suggested a couple books, and she suggested a couple resources. I can send those to you. But it was a very interesting discussion as to what should we do and how do we teach our students to, and ourselves, how do we deal with our social media and our cell phones. And like you say, the farther you can get that cell phone from the person, putting it in another room, parents can agree with students. Talk to them is one of the things she said.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your kids and teach them. Self-control is part of what we have to do. But just willpower is not going to do it. If you have something in front of you or close to you and you can grab it, you're going to give in. She said, and she gave some beautiful examples. She gave some stories that we all could identify with. If you have cookies on the table or sweet rolls and they're sitting there and everybody can see them, you're going to probably finish your food and grab the dessert first, because or second very quickly, because you can see it. If you put it in the other room or cover it over even, she said, it's so much easier to eat your meal and not when you see that. And so the cell phone is right there. It needs to be put away in some way. And she, like you said, we talked about different strategies, but it was a very interesting discussion. So I've taken enough time.
And if I could just
thank you.
Piggyback off Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle, unless you want me to add
just hold
it
it until you get to your board member time.
Right.
all right?
Yeah, it's a big topic. We as a board can talk about some of the strategies. I can shoot some of the stuff to you and give you some recommended resources that she has.
Because
But pushing it all on the teacher is not a realistic possibility, she said. And letting the students carry them around with no guidelines is also not a good strategy.
Not a
You're
good
giving up
strategy.
because the students at this age do not have the ability to do it on their own.
That's
They
right.
we have to have some guidelines.
That's right. That brings
So
capacity.
that's all I'm going to say right now.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Riddle. Ms. Gonzalez?
Oh, well, I'll chime in then since
Yes.
it's my turn. But I think I think I disagree a little bit in part with maybe, and I forgot the speaker's name if you mentioned it, Mr. Riddle. But I think for this generation to connect with students, I think it helps to help them realize that their mental health is important because it's something that they already care about, and to
absolutely.
tie it with social media. So that is, for me, the biggest strategy, because even me, like, I'm trying to get off social media because it was so negative for my mental health. And I think that way, parents also and guardians can make inroads with their kids as well to learn about what's causing their anxiety and a whole range of emotions. So that was just gonna be my 2 cents. But I did these past few weeks, I have been participating and attending various school events. I went to the HVAC lab open house, and I was so excited to talk with some of the students. The 2 students that I talked to, they were thinking about doing it as a career, but also not too sure. And I think that that's really the point. Like, the earlier you learn about different pathways, you can create a better plan for what you actually do want to do. And also just to have life skills, because I would have wished to learn a little bit about HVAC or what to take care of in your home, especially before becoming a first-time homebuyer. But you know, that's going to be really helpful for the students, and I do look forward to the other pathways that we're going to be building out. You know, I asked the admin in the room, like, well, what does filling the room full of students and not having a wait list look like? And, you know, Mr. Hamilton very succinctly said, like, it's going to take investment, a lot more dollars to build this out. And I don't disagree. I think that that's what it's going to require of future boards, that allocated money to build out more labs, to make the labs more accessible, too, because it was kind of in a nook and cranny in Washington campus. But it's okay. People found their way there. So those are all exciting things. And I also, you know, want to encourage the community to keep showing up, you know, with the Black History Month celebration, with like some of the plays and the concerts that the students are going to. Like, you know, I thought that the program was great. I think it could have been better. So I will fill in that survey. I encourage everyone who attended to fill out that survey to keep making our FACE events bigger and better each time. But I do wish that more people went, and I think that that's, you know, it takes all of us to kind of bring the community out, because I think when we don't see each other, or when the students don't see us, they think like, you know, it's not really worth it to be doing all of the presentations or to be practicing and rehearsing, and so I really appreciate these moments, because these are the things that we should be celebrating. And I want to give a shout out to Calvin and the comms team that, you know, they do the videos and they put that out there. I think that really helps with the reputation and helps affirm, you know, all these things that the students are putting their time and energy toward. So, you know, more of that, and yeah, I look forward to what upcoming events we have going on.
Okay, I also attended the HVAC open house, and I talked with the students. One student I talked with in particular stuck in my mind, and he wasn't sure that he wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I say, have you explored any other trades? He said, I'm not real sure. I asked him about being a journeyman. He said, you know, my auntie said that word to me. What is that? I say it's kind of like a jack of all trades, that you get your education in with a number of the trades: HVAC, electricity, carpentry, plumbing, the whole thing. He said, you know, that's something that I think that I would like to do. So I said, you know, pursue it. Okay, that stuck in my head. But the students there, they were very knowledgeable about what they were doing and what they were beginning to do. And we were told that there were going to be, well, it's just a small group this year, but next year that they already have like 79 students signed up and stuff that are interested to do this. And I just wanted to say, I was watching a news clip this morning, and it was about the construction trade, right? And that the guy that owned his own construction company, and he said that he made $14 million maybe a couple years ago or something, but he cannot do that now because he cannot find construction workers that are experienced. And so, people, we need to get our inform our young people, you know, give them information about going into construction. I remember when I was in school, the students here in Waukegan, they built a house. They built a house on Glen Rock, and I don't know the street that goes right behind Washington campus. They built that house right there at the corner, okay? Anyway, my whole point is that I'm so glad to see that we are putting the vocations back in our school district, because in the late 90s, early 2000s, we had all of the vocations right here in our school district. And unfortunately, at that time, we had superintendent that I didn't agree with, and he removed all of the vocational as well as our home economics out of our school district. And I thought that that was just the worst thing that could have happened back then. But you know, that was in that era where everybody was trying to push kids to go to college. Okay, and so I guess they thought that that was, you know, rationale to remove that. But the pendulum has swung back, and now we need that stuff back. And I put it in the board minutes that whenever we get money to be able to support putting our vocations back, that's what the Board of Education should do. And I said, so we are starting, and that is wonderful for the kids. So the HVAC open house was really good. I ended up learning the direction of that tunnel because I had to walk it, and it's a long tunnel. Yeah, okay, but anyway, the program is excellent for the kids. I attended the Black History program at the high school, and as Ms. Gonzalez said, that you know, we keep doing and communicating and collaborating, and it could get bigger and better. And there's some things that, you know, that could have taken place but you know, we get better as we go. What else did I do? Oh, I was able to go to the Robbie Lightfoot and read to kids. They forced me to read 2 books, and I enjoyed that. What do you do? What do you do when your grandma gives you a lemon tree for your birthday? So anyway, that was one of the stories, but we had fun. And the other thing, I just when I was at Robbie Lightfoot, I noticed that we did not have a plaque or a photograph of Mrs. Lightfoot in that building. And I am so hoping that we can correct that, so that when people walk in the building, they see it's Robbie Lightfoot, then they know who Robbie Lightfoot is. And the dedication plaque, Mr. Moulton, maybe you could help me. Why didn't we put a plaque up when we dedicated that building?
Ms. Hannah will come back to this as board member time, but I will look into it and I will get back to you tomorrow.
Okay, because we need that plaque and that picture of her, like at John Lewis, okay, and the other schools. Cell phone, I made a suggestion about the cell phone and summer school, trying to experiment for summer school like Evanston High School did. They didn't thrust it on all of the students, but they tried it in summer school, and they found that the students liked it without the cell phones. They were not distracted, and these are words coming from their mouths.
They didn't see other kids having fun outside. Which is, you know, when you gotta lock in, you gotta lock in. So that's good.
It was only in the classroom.
Right.
And, you know, and I am all for that.
Right.
We have board policy.
You know, so, yeah, we do have a board policy, but it's not being adhered to. And so I think we should just go a little step further and say no cell phones in the classroom during summer school and see how that works. But other than that, it's been a real busy week. And if for anybody wanting to know, Glenwood is having their Black History program on the 28th during the daytime. So that's everything I have.
So a couple of things. So just so it's clear and I don't confuse anyone further, the Stay Out of My Room event, it has been clarified, is at Washington campus, so apologies. This Friday, February 28th, from 5:30 to 7:30. It's on the district website. You can even just Google Waukegan Stay Out of My Room and you'll get a link to it. Just make sure you enter through door 1. That's where they're gonna traffic people. We also have a walk pack presentation, or performance rather, of Moana coming up. That's going to be this coming April, so I know it's more than a month away, but we want to make sure we are telling families well in advance. So it's 3 different performances, one Friday night, April 11th at 7, and 2 on Saturday, April 12th, 1 at 3 p.m., and then the last show's at 6 p.m. I know there was a previous concern regarding the sound system, so if the board can get an update on that, I think I would be appreciative. Hopefully everybody would. In addition, another date coming up, I believe March 11th, that board meeting will not take place here at Lincoln Center, and that is our next board meeting. Superintendent, you're getting ready, so I'll pass it over to you.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I will.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'll let the superintendent comment further on that when I'm done. I was not able to attend the Black History Month celebration this year, unfortunately. I would really appreciate it if we can get a school calendar in place, especially for different schools, different departments, scheduling things, because I had to attend a school fundraiser. It was great, my kids loved it, that's fine. But this has been a constant ask of the board, and I really hate being a broken record. It's very frustrating. I'd rather focus my time talking about other things, not the same thing over and over again. So if we can get that in place, that way schools can put it on the district-wide calendar for all of the events. If they say, hey, there's gonna be this event, it might detract from who's coming to our event, we can reschedule and pivot. Is it gonna be perfect? No, we have 24 schools, right? So it's not gonna be perfect, but I think it would greatly enhance the experience and encourage our families to engage with as much as we can. On the cell phone banning conversation, this also came up in our safety meeting. I think it's a culture shift. So I recommend parents really look into the science of what a smartphone does to your student, really look into the research behind what social media does to your students. before a certain age. My kids will have dumb phones, right? I don't think we can make a district policy saying only dumb phones are allowed. That's unreasonable for our families to have 2 separate phones for our kids. But I think educating yourself as a parent or guardian is crucial in this conversation. I also think we need a culture shift, and there's some schools that it's part of their culture, like middle school. It's the students come in, they put it in the pocket, they don't touch it for the class time, and then that way they can focus. So to Mr. Riddle's point, it's out of sight, more out of mind situation. And if we can start that culture earlier and earlier, because I even know there's elementary school kids walking around with cell phones. So if we integrate that into the culture, it's a normal expectation. And yes, while we do a board policy, I also don't want our teachers fighting over cell phones with students to get the class started. So we do need to enforce policy, but we also need to be mindful of how we're best going to achieve the results that we want. And I agree with, it's our job to educate students and prepare them for the real world. So I'm very anti-banning most things. And so we need to teach them how to manage all of these pieces that are going to be part of their life. In conjunction with parents, though, we can't do it all as a school district. The last thing that I'm going to share this evening is I recently heard about an old study about individuals when they're at the bottom of a hill. They were asked, how steep do you estimate the slope of this hill is? So they're at the base and they have to look up to essentially gauge how hard it would be to climb. When they're by themselves, individuals say it was harder than if they had a friend standing next to them. And so really just having that community, that friendship, that camaraderie around you makes things feel less hard. And you feel a sense of belonging, and you feel like someone's in it with you, and you can tackle those challenges harder. So keeping that in mind as we're adjusting to the many crazy changing things going on right now in this day and age, I really want to again encourage everyone, just pour love into each other. Make sure you are finding ways to fill your own cup, and reach out for help when you need that help, whether it's from a friend or from one of the many mental health services that we have within this district. And then back to you, Superintendent, for the March 11th meeting.
Thank you. So our goal still is to have the March 11th meeting at 2:14. I will state that as we walk through, we're putting the finishing touches, and that's not structural or painting. It's more student artwork, pictures, and we don't want to open the building with all that not being set first. We've also asked our schools to put their thumbprint on 214, and that was an idea that unfortunately I will own I thought about last week when I was walking through, that I just didn't want this to be an administrative office that architects had put plans together, picked colors, but that schools and students actually have their thumbprint on it. So we have Cook looking at what we have, our child care center. We are going to have, I don't want to give some surprises, but like the alumni wall. And so we're trying to get that done within a week. If it has to get pushed back because of that, we're going to be informing the board. However, tech-wise, paint-wise, we could walk in there today and we're up and go, but it's a very stale environment. But I do believe we're going to be on target for the 11th meeting. We just have our schools coming in and out to ensure that that last piece is done. It's not anything major. It's just a lot of pictures, and we have some teachers involved and some ideas. We have a conference room that the high school is gonna, it's gonna be, I don't want to say the name, but they're putting together that community members can use, community services can use, anybody can rent out. Not rent out, I just say book out, because we're not charging. And so that idea came to me last week when I was there, and so we're just looking at that. So I'm going to circle back with the board, but what I can tell you, it will not be later than that first meeting in April, but we're really, really shooting for the meeting in March, so that this whole board can be in there.
Perfect. And just to confirm, because the reason I brought it up was for the community, so that will also just be part of the board docs notice of the location.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
We'll be ready with that.
Great, thank you.
There's been a lot of talk. So I'm going to try to be brief. As far as the cell phone, if we can get the cell phone policy sent to all the board members just so that they can have a refresher of what that actually looks like. Because I think our policy pretty much states what the governor is stating, but it's about the enforcement, and those are two different things. So how do we support teachers and staff in that? So if we can have that sent out to board members, that might help the conversation. I also encourage people as they're, getting on social media and all these different websites for following up on Waukegan Public Schools, because there are so many things changing so quickly. Also getting on the Illinois State Board of Education social media and webpage to also find what is staying the same, and if there are any updates or mandates that are truly being changed within the state of Illinois. I know Dr. Sanders has been very transparent and very vocal, and he sent out a response where he addressed the Dear Colleagues letter that which was the reason of why we were going to do some action today, right? And he really put in there all the different mandates that we do have to still adhere by through Illinois school code. So again, I encourage people to follow ISB and also understand that while there are federal mandates, there are still state mandates that we have to follow because schools are governed by state, state control. So, and in the state of Illinois is local control. So really staying up to date with all of that. They are also collecting feedback from families going along in the same lines of how our school code works and how these different budgets and mandates get into place. One data collection they're asking for is for community to sign up for the bullying and harassment data collection, and then also for the Tidings Amendment, which is the ESSA, which is school improvement. And so you can send your suggestions to schoolimprovement@isb.net, and it's just, approval means ensuring the continuity of school improvement throughout our state. So again, those are all efforts that at the end help Waukegan. It is Public Schools Week, so we can celebrate that as well. So this week is Public Schools Week. As far as CT and HVAC, unfortunately, I was not able to attend. A lot of these things are done during my work hours, unfortunately, but I do want to remind the public that if you would like these programs to continue, we need teachers in order to continue them. And you do not have to go back to get a teaching degree to get a CTE certificate to be endorsed in order to teach these programs. So again, I encourage you to visit the isb.net website to find out information on how you can get certified if you would like to help young children or young students go into your career path. And then touching really quickly on the governor's speech, I think for me it was very motivational, and there was a lot of messaging within that speech that went beyond just our budget and went beyond all these mandates that we're looking forward to. One of the mandates, or one of the bills that he's looking at is turning community colleges so that they can go beyond the associate's degree and create a pathway for bachelor's degree. And so I do want to commend Lake County because they do have the University Center, which partnered with our local community college years ago, and I know they're having their gala. But, having that opportunity to get your bachelor's degree locally makes it more affordable and eliminates that transportation barrier. So if we could, I encourage you all to look into that and support that as well. But again, his speech went well beyond just our budget. It really did address the state of things and the power that we have as a community to stand up for injustice or for wrongs or inequality. And so to Ms. Lensing's point, banding together, we make a mighty team, and it makes things a little bit more manageable. So if you have not seen it already, I encourage you to go onto Illinois.gov's website to watch the speech. It is brief, and it's not heavy in jargon, so it is very watchable.
All right. Motion to adjourn. Motion
Second.
by Mr. McBride, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.